'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
Bienvenidas al podcast Dos Bold Latinas. Aquí están sus hosts, Jatna Abreu
y Josibel Madera Vialets, dos latinas feministas born in Santo Domingo y in New York.
Passionate about Latina empowerment, Spanglish,
learning, growth, and so much more.
Hola mujeres, today we're having a conversation about what happens to our identities after becoming a mom. If you have children, there may have been a point in your life in which you have felt or still feel like you might have lost yourself and your own identity. The internet defines loss of identity after having a baby as having lost the sense of the person that you were before the birth of the child. And then the sense of identity pretty much comes from many things. So including like relationships, friendships, nationality, culture, and jobs. So I would say basically everything that makes up who you are as a person. And so with that said, loss of identity as a mom is obviously different for everyone. So Rosie and I today want to share our personal struggles, and we hope that, you know, it feels kind of relatable to you and other moms. And, you know, becoming a mom and kind of losing who we are in the process after becoming, again, a mom. And so we want to share with you guys kind of like what we went through and what we have been going through, even now that, you know, Rosie has 2 children and then I have 1. And so it's been a while since we became moms. And so we're still struggling with some of those things. So we want to make sure that we can share that with everyone out there that is already a mom, just became a mom, or will be a future mom soon. And so we'll do that today. But we also have put together some tips or ideas on things you can do to try to feel like yourself when you're feeling a little lost as a mom and when you feel like you've lost that identity. So with that, I'm going to let Rosie get started, and she'll share a little bit about kind of like her process and her struggles and how she has felt ever since she became a mom.
Thank you, Jatna. Hola todas. So this is like another topic that we usually don't think about or acknowledge. Reminds me of the topic that we did of imposter syndrome. And this is like another thing, like, oh, identity as a mom. And it's like, I would hear them like, oh, Jatna, like, have you ever felt that? Should we talk about that? And then it's like, I had to kind of like really do some self-analyzation to think like, have I ever thought about that, because I just feel como que algo que yo he pasado por alto. But I guess I could actually start by saying it was more, I feel like because I don't know why, I feel like when I became a mom, I feel like I just started feeling that more self-worth sense, because I discovered things I never thought I was able to do. Like, I don't know if I have shared this, but I was scared to change my son's diaper. I didn't change it until we got home. I was never into taking care of kids, so I was scared. Like, I thought I would never be able to be like the whole good mom thing. And then it just naturally came. Like, I feel like us women were naturally made to conquer things. Like, we were made to just achieve at what we are put in our hands. But then I did start thinking about what were some things that I started missing once I became a mom. And one of those, I would say, my social life, even though this is like a weird social life, but I am an introvert. And it was like helping my parents out at their store. So to me, like, I'm una persona servicial. I love helping people. I love knowing that what fills my heart is I help someone or I'm doing something for someone else. Like Jana could tell you that. So it was like, oh, now I have especially after my second daughter, like now I have two kids. They're my priority. Like I don't get to go out and help as much. And it's like I'm sit here and think like, okay, I didn't really lose friends as because I wasn't sociable as that, like going out and the nightlife, as you can hear some moms, or you were probably that person that you had to put those stuff on pause because other priorities in your life came. Um, so that I would say that would be my first thing that I could think of, like if I start to think back of what I have missed and what I still do miss right now, that I can't just, I would literally just work all day. So I feel like that was a big identity of myself. Like when I would say, like, what are you gonna do, Rosie? Oh, I'm gonna go work. I'm gonna go be at my parents' store. So that was like that's something that I have felt that I have lost. And I still have that guilt that I had to battle with. Should I wake up early in the morning and go to the store and then come back home? But then it's like, am I gonna have full energy? I know I'm gonna be tired all day. So it's like choosing those struggles for me that I have personally felt that it's like I still struggle with that, but I just have to learn that it's okay, um, and just be happy with that. And then the second thing has been like after my second baby, I have felt I've lost myself once it comes to body image. Because I didn't, so for my first one, I was able to lose it off the baby weight, and I did gain a lot of weight. But for the second one, as you know, every pregnancy is different. I did not lose that baby weight, and I ended up gaining more weight. So in the past 2 years, I have gained like 20 pounds, and it's like, yes, I have bought bigger clothes to feel better about myself when I get dressed up, to like the high rise jeans and all of this and that. But there's still times that I do think of, like, I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh my gosh, who are you? Like, you can't wear those cute shirts you used to wear anymore. Like, that was you. Like, that's what you used to like to wear. Like, I really wasn't that person. Like, I would wear baggy clothes, and it's like, now I had to wear baggier shirts. And it's like, that's not me. Like, I don't feel cute. But then for a way for me to balance that feeling out is, hey, you brought two humans into this world. Your body's going to change. You're getting older. So you are evolving. So learning to embrace that body that I have, but that also something I've been doing lately is, all right, what am I really eating? Like, am I really staying healthy? Because sometimes, especially like when I've been working from home for the past 2 years, like just having meetings virtually and taking care of my daughter at home or if my son's home from school, I would go and eat all the junk food they have in the pantry. Like before, I wouldn't even buy that much. And now since they're home, I would. So and just becoming a little bit more conscious of what I eat also. I've been trying to do that lately. So after all, I have really personally felt I have gained more after having the title of mommy added to my identity. I may have lost some things. I just gave you like the two biggest things that came to mind. There could be little things out there in here of things that I used to do. However, like I honestly feel my heart is full knowing that I have the gift to be a mom. Like my husband, when I got pregnant with my son, I felt like I was too young. And my husband would tell me, like, oh, you need that. Like, you need that. Because that was when I really discovered my first, I would say, what love really was. Like, I thought I was in love with my husband. Like, oh, like, this is lo máximo, this and that. And then it's like, I have my son. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's nothing. And I have my daughter. And it's like, that's when I started having this whole self-love. So it's like, I have been able to learn more, adding more to my identity and being able to conquer more things after having that title as a mom, even just personally, professionally, because your mindset changes. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Jana to see how it has been with her personally, and then we'll go into some little tips here and there after that.
And like, I want to remind everybody that, kind of like we said at the beginning, where we mentioned that looks very different to everybody, like the loss of identity for every mom. We do understand that, again, it's going to look super different because we're all different, people, and we're in different situations as well. Like, we understand that a lot of us may not have the same, support system that others may have. So I can see how that may change a lot from women to women, because you may not have that support system. And so that adds a lot more pressure or a lot more to your plate when we talk about like losing your identity. If you're the only person basically in charge or responsible or supporting your child, basically. So, we just wanted to make sure that we brought that up again. But for me, specifically, I was more, I'm not gonna lie, I never really felt like I lost my identity per se, because my family, I mean, if you're part of a Hispanic family, like you're Latino, they're always making sure that somehow, some way, I mean, they kind of see it, or they think they're helping you by basically preparing you and letting you know all these things that will change in your life when you're about to do something big, such as, having a child. So I always had, my family and friends and, especially bigger, like older cousins who had children before me, that would always tell me like, your life is about to change. Your life is never going to be the same when you become a mom. Things would just be prepared, because you're just not going to be basically kind of like yourself anymore. Like, you're always going to be responsible for another human being, and that's going to be your main priority. So in my mind, since I've always been a planner, I always, I was always prepared, because that's what I've been told kind of like years before I started to think about having kids. So in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, I know everything's going to change. Nothing's going to be the same. Basically, I'm just going to be a different person, or just taking care of another human being. That's going to be my main priority. So in my mind, I was already prepared, and I was like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm giving up my entire freedom and myself to another, human being. So I was ready. I was prepared. But when I did have my son, when he came to the, push come to shove, where it's like, oh, it's time, he's here. My concern was more about the guilt of wanting to still work full time while having a child, because I always knew that I would never stop working after having a family, because I really enjoy doing what just working. I really enjoy just working out of the house, doing something else for myself. And I've always worked hard to get where I wanted to be professionally. So, that's the reason why again, going back to like being an immigrant, like reason why I came to this country in the first place, to, basically have a better life. My parents always wanted my siblings and I to be, become professionals, whatever that may be, whatever that may look like to our family. And, I got all my degrees, a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, like all these things that are supposed to make me be a professional. So I felt like I worked so hard to get there that I needed to continue to do so. You know what I mean? Like, even when I had a child. So, it's kind of something that it was kind of engraved into me. So I always knew that, I don't know, I needed to continue to do so. And I felt so concerned when I had Jebby that I was just like, oh, how am I going to do this? Like, I feel so guilty because I have to have someone else take care of him while I'm over here trying to, I don't know, like be myself, get work done, but also like obviously provide for him at the same time. So, ahora, I did have to pause, some things to ensure that I was getting used to my life as a mom and creating routines and whatnot to be able to basically try to do it all, or at least, I say try to do it all, because we all women, moms, whatever, we always try to make sure that we are doing all these things at the same time, and we wear a lot of hats. So for me, that was something that I needed to obviously prioritize, even though I like doing a lot of other things. But then I also have to mention that having a partner who also understands the importance of working together to take care of my family was also super helpful in my case. So again, we mentioned this earlier, but like having a support system is very important. And like, had I not had my husband and, my sister, like his family supporting us and being able to take care of Jeb while we were away, getting work done or bringing food home or whatever, just to make sure we had a good life and he was well off. It was very, for us, we were blessed to be able to have that. So that's another thing that, comes into place. And so I just have to say, overall, I learned that we need to ensure that we ask for help and be okay with receiving the help because, as we said it before in other episodes, and I just said it again, it really takes a village to raise our children, and that is great. But then again, it's really hard when you don't have that support system. So, I just want to make sure that we all, kind of like understand that that's a very huge thing and to be blessed with and to be thankful for if you do have a family that supports you. Because let's just be honest, like as moms, like it's just really hard to get things done. Not that you can't, because I have known women that have been able to do it, but like what is the cost, of them being able to do that on their own? So yeah, those were kind of my struggles, ladies. And so we hope that you, like, I don't know, maybe it's relatable to you and it helps you understand that it's okay, that you're not alone, that it's okay to feel like you lost your identity or feel like you are stuck in that portion of your life or that stage in life where you're just like, you just don't know like what's next and what to do because you just had a child and you're just trying to figure it out. And it's okay. It's going to take time to figure it out. Nothing's going to happen miraculously right away. So you do have to give yourself time to start planning things, in your life and then get used to the new, being a mom and having a child and just parenthood overall.
Yes. So much fun at the end of the day. So now that we both shared our personal struggles about our identities when we become mommies, we would love to share with you, excuse me, some tips to help you feel more confident and find the time to connect with yourself when you feel a bit lost. So the first one I would say it really goes into, I say this like the first thing I had to give myself is organizing your day to fit in some me time. We all call this the me time, doing something and you enjoy, even if it's small, because it's like sometimes you're just in this like little hamster wheel, like going around nonstop, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like did I do my hair today or something? And then it's like you gotta stop and something small, untangle your hair could be something, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, so the second tip would be to just hire someone or that can come into your house and clean your house basically, or do your groceries, or whatever it may be, like your laundry or anything that has to be done at home so that you can do number one. What Rosie mentioned at first, your me time. If you don't really have the time to do those things, it would be because you have like all this workload at home that you need to take care of, like cleaning the house and all those chores. This is where that would come in, where you can hire someone to come in and help you and support you in the days that you feel like, no, I need a break. So therefore, I'm just going to have someone come in and help me. And there's no shame in that. Like, ask for help. That's what we said earlier. Make sure that you are asking for help, especially if it's available to you and you're able to do so. So that would be our second tip.
Yeah, and then just going into a little bit of the social life, I would say give yourself some grace and start socializing with moms, since it will be hard to keep up with friends which are not moms yet, because it's hard to keep up with their social life, right? So it's like you don't have those same commonalities, you don't have the same schedules, you don't have the time to just text or talk about like the same things you used to talk about. And it may be hard for that other person to understand. Not saying that like, oh, they're not a good friend anymore. It's just you guys are on different pages. And it even happens like when you start outgrowing any other type of relationship. It's just the way it is. There's just something about that when we're moms, like we could, like John and I could talk about like, oh, we were talking about earlier, like how our kids get up in their beds and open the front doors and go outside in the middle of the night. Like that's scary. Like, that's something you can't just talk about with all of your friends because it's not relatable. So for you to feel like, that you still have some type of social life that is not only talking about your kid, so you can feel okay talking about your kids all the time because that's what you end up doing as a mom. Start getting some like new mom friends so you can go out on play dates. So you can still get out the house and do things be with other people and that you're on the same page.
Then the fourth tip that we have is one is if you are struggling with body image, like Rose mentioned this earlier, that she was struggling when she had both her babies. We would suggest that you find, maybe someone or like an online community that can help you with your, just like getting your goals to the point where you want to be, basically. So we want to make sure that you don't put pressure as soon as you give birth to your baby, because I mean, let's be honest, it took forever. Like it took almost a year for you to have that baby, for your body to be able to, make sure that that baby comes out healthy and all that stuff. And so it's going to take probably the same amount of time for your body to go back to normal. So please do not pressure yourself into wanting to go back quickly into your pre-baby body, way, because let's be honest, it's going to take some time. But I mean, as you do get ready, within those first few months up to a year, make sure you find help. Make sure you find, like Rosie said, maybe like an online community, but also some friends that may be, mama friends that just also gave birth or had already given birth, but they may have like tips for you on how to, go back to your pre-baby body weight and things like that. So just don't do it alone. And like I said, do not pressure yourself. It's going to take time.
Yes. And mentally really deteriorates you. Like it becomes exhausting after some point. So just love the body that you have at the moment. Like I said earlier, give yourself some grace for that. And then I would say another one is like if you are a stay-at-home mom, like sometimes like you just have to, again, I keep saying the word grace, but give yourself some credit and start to set new goals, because sometimes we probably had goals and some of us like, oh yeah, I want to keep working, but then something happens that you just end up staying home with the baby. And then that's like when you start like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, like you start feeling like you lost some things that you wouldn't used to do, or you had to put some dreams on pause, this and that. Like that's something that I really want to put out there, that okay, yes, your children become a priority, but don't lose yourself doing that. Like we mentioned, you could hire someone, or you have help, ask for help. Like, okay, and maybe you don't have all of that, but organize your day so you could have some me time in there. And that's when I say create new goals, so you have that sense of accomplishment. Like do a little side project, a little side hustle, do something that you enjoy. So that way you are, like making that huge accomplishment as, just being that new role of your life of being a stay-at-home mom. But what is it that you're doing on the side also? Maybe when the baby goes to sleep, or you're setting it, or you're waking up an hour earlier, make sure that you fit something in there for you to feel that self-accomplishment, you as yourself, as who you are.
And then the next one is, I mean, we've already said this many, many times in this episode already, but again, ask for help. If you are blessed to have a support system that's helping you raise your children, and are always there for you and are willing to support you and make sure that you are still successful in your life, by providing that support, don't feel guilty to just, ask for help and just keep growing in your career and doing the things you love doing and building your business if you're an entrepreneur. So just make sure that you're always, if the help is available, don't feel guilty and ask for help. Again, if you are blessed to have that support, it's important that you take advantage of that. I mean, they want to help you, so make sure you do ask for it.
Yeah, and after that, with all of that said, I feel like it comes down to like really analyzing your life to keep you happy. Like, are you making sure that you don't, with that sleep like when you become sleep deprived, so you have those mood swings, you become like all overwhelmed as a mom. So sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, like my personality is changing. I'm having a lot of mood swings. So like take some time to analyze like what's keeping you happy, so you could be that happy mommy, So it's like, I know it's like it sounds like a little bit like too much to ask for, like to be happy, but like when we're taking care of ourselves, that's when we're taking care of our family. Like the biggest gift we could give to our family is staying healthy. So because it's like we're healthy, we're there to take care of them. And over the years, we don't give that burden also to our children, that because we didn't take care of ourselves now, we weren't, like later on, we have complications healthy wise. So the best gift we could give to our family is staying healthy, that aging healthy as a mom, and basically, just having those positive mindsets so you can be that happy mommy that your children need.
And lastly, I want to say, kind of like the last tip that we want to provide here, which I kind of talked about during my spiel, is that we need to make sure that we are creating routines for ourselves and for our family, because believe it or not, routines will make your life so much easier and will help you take care of the things that you need to take care of based on the schedule that you have created. And honestly, your kids will get so used to your routines that you have created for your family that they will always know what they need to be doing next. They will always know what's expected of them, and they will always know what is coming next, like I said. So again, like I'm all for routines. I do this. We started to do this as soon as we had, maybe I didn't do it as I'm a planner and I've always planned for things. So maybe that was kind of like a routine for me. But like after having, Jeb and becoming a mom, I felt like that was the one thing that would help us still be, the best parents we could be, my husband and I. And so we created a routine that now he's 5, like since he was born, and now he's 5 and he always knows what's coming next. Like I don't have to tell him what's coming next because he always knows. And he knows that he comes home from school, he has dinner, we have some time to play, we do homework, we take baths, we read books, we go to bed. And we do that over and over and over for the past 5 years. I mean, he was in daycare before, but it's still, there was a routine there. And he knows what's coming next. And that's the good thing about routines, that we don't have to fight over it because he already knows that that's part of his life now. So I believe that routines are very important. So make sure that you have one for yourself and your family, and it would be super, super helpful. And with that, I want to turn it over to Rosie, and we're going to go ahead and close our episode today.
Yeah, so to wrap this up is, I would say, like, Mama, if you really could find something to do without your kids, to do it. I know you will feel guilty and miss them, but that's okay. Because I recall being like, I'm going to put 2 things out there that to close it out, to kind of give you some inspiration that you can do things without your kids. Because I recall getting like shamed for leaving to China study abroad program where my son had just turned 3 years old. And I don't regret going. I was able to learn so much about myself, like when it comes to like identity, who I am, what can I do, what can I do. I was really able to discover those things on that trip on my own, far away. And to mention something recently, like just this Friday, like we had to do some kayaking for work as a team building activity. And it reminded me that I can have fun on my own without feeling guilty, because I would be thinking like myself, like, you get to go kayaking, kind of like telling me, oh, you're going to go without me. And because I could have just said like, oh, I'm not going to go, and to not make my kids feel bad. But I still went because, this was a work optional thing. You didn't have to go. You didn't want to, I would say. So I just feel like those little things come to our minds as a mom, but it's to still go out there and still have fun. So as the homework I always give, it's like, you don't forget, there's always homework. I don't want you to just listen to this and say, oh, that was nice. I really want you to put something into action. Like this, you invested this time to listen to us. How are you going to invest in yourself now? So here comes the homework, is to, create some type of routine so you could actually make time to start doing something that you enjoy. As I said, it could start small so you could reach those other bigger goals that you have, but do something small every single day. And it really does add up to be that best version of yourself, so you could be also that best mommy that you want to be. So take care of yourself. Y hasta la próxima. Besos y abrazos. Ciao.